Welcome to the Imagine Not Being Leeds.
Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds. Now then, everyone, welcome back to Imagine Not Being Leeds. Hope you're all doing well, all had a good week. Friday tomorrow, huge game on Saturday, 8 p.m. kickoff at Church, Elland Road, Leeds v Brentford. And we're here to chat about it tonight. Bit of a preview, get into everything what was said at press conference and go through that too. I'll look ahead of just a massive weekend in terms of, the fixtures. We all know there's a massive game between Spurs and Forest also. Forest are currently in extra time, which is brilliant news for Leeds United. The more minutes, the more risk of injuries, and the things like that. So yeah, brilliant that they're taking no extra time. All things considered, for me, it's a huge weekend in the relegation scrap, in the survival scrap. It's it's huge. But let's get into some of your comments. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, a little bit out of breath. I've just been up and down the stairs twice because the kids were in bed and then they woke up and, didn't wake up, just started opening the door. These things happen. But yeah, sorry that I am a little bit late. Says as in, as always, how you doing, mate? Luke says, hope you're well, Matty. I subscribe to your Jordan, wishing the young man well. I've been quiet on this one ever since Villa lost to 10-men Brentford, who are a strong team, held for 45 minutes. So Villa were tough. Yeah, they're a good side, Brentford, mate. It's not going to be as easy as maybe some people think. But it is a home game. I just don't want to write them off. 3 points. Yeah, no, I agree with all that, mate. We've got to target this game as 3 points. So, Luke, it's got to be 3 points in my eyes. What does all law mean? All Leeds, aren't we? Presume that's what you meant, mate. Evening top banana as always. Thanks for being here, buddy. Tickle us, that's for our Matty. Tough game, this one. People taking Brentford too easy. Hard game. Very hard game, mate. They're not pushing for Europe for nothing, top banana, but there's certain games you've got to target 3 points in. And when you go to Palace and get a point, home games we're told, singular points. Away from home, a draw we're told is a good result as long as you win your home games. At some point, we've got to start winning his home games again. We've just lost home games back to back in the league. So at some point, we've got to look at getting 3 points and, look no further than Brentford. They're the next game. That's the next one up. Are they beatable? Yes, they are. They're not one of the so-called big teams. But yeah, a tough game, a tough game. I mean, I ain't going to predict no silly, no 3s and 4s from me this week, but we've got to go for it. Gavin says, we need 3 points here, or I fear for us. Hope Spursy beat Forest and our gap gets to 6 points. Forest in extra time now, not ideal for them. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one with that Spurs game. I'm not too sure I want to win that. I kind of think the longer you can keep Spurs from winning and getting on a bit of a run, the better, but they are on a decent run now in terms of winning yesterday, even though they're still without the cup, Champions League, and getting a draw as well the other night. So 2 games without a loss for Spurs. Are they turning it around? Potentially. Looks like they're playing for manager now, or playing for club at least. So that's not ideal for Leeds. But Forest being in extra time is certainly a good thing for us. Tezza, as always, pissed off I'm watching the darts, says Dave. Just to let you know, Metcha missed 5 penalties, DCL missed 2 penalties, not including penalty shootouts. Is that in the career, top banana? It surprised me that, to be fair, that Metch has even taken. I mean, what has he taken? Two or three at Leeds. So he's taken 8 in his career. He ain't even that old, is he, Metch? Really mid-20s. But yeah, I mean, at Leeds for me, Metch should be a penalty taker when on pitch. I think he's been calm, cool, collected. Mr. Iceman. I've said it before. There's a bit of an aura around him. I do think he's our best penalty taker in my opinion. So I wish he would have taken the one at Palace, but never mind. We move on. Evening, Joseph. Hope you're doing well, pal. Yeah, I'm good, Gangeen. Hope you're good, my mate. 2 minutes late. Give me a break. He said 2 minutes top banana, not 10. Come on now. Forest to win on pens. Yeah, that'd be ideal. Take them as long as they can and then go through as well. I'd like that. Good to see you as always. Matty, cheers, Andy. Good to see you also, my mate. Smash the likes, Otley Whites. Cheers. Thank you very much, Neelix Hall. Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah. Villa will win. West Ham will win. Villa will be shattered tonight. Yeah, I'm obviously fingers crossed Villa can sort of do us a favour against West Ham, but Villa aren't playing too well at the minute. Going to the game. Yes, Logan. Good lad. Me too, mate. Evening, Soul. Hope you're okay, mate. We need this win on Saturday. Come on, Leeds. Yeah, I mean, never a true word I said, mate. It's a huge, huge game. Been on a 12-hour shift today, mate, and just seen the post. Harry Chris and Kev, 26 years, mate. Seems like yesterday. Actually, date is West Ham. 9,000 Leeds turning their backs for Chris and Kev so much. It's going to be a very emotional day, that one, mate. 100%. Yeah, hopefully I get news tomorrow that me and Athy have got tickets for it. We'll have to see how we go on, but yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we get tickets for that, mate. Remember the last time we had a fully fit squad? LUFC edits. It's rare for everybody, isn't it? To be fair, not many teams have fully fit squads. So the fact that we have now, as you can see there in the injury suspensions box on top left, we've only got one suspension, and that's Gabby Goodmanson. No injuries, a clean bill of health. We heard in the press conference earlier from Daniel Farke. Noah Okafor has been the only one really with any sort of injury. What is it? The last couple of weeks, he's been full team training now since beginning of the week. So will he start? Maybe not. But I do think he'll have an impact. And as a bench option, I think there's no one better really to come off that bench. He's a bit more trusted than I say Willie Nonto has been, and maybe others, maybe even Dan James. He's trusted Okafor with some decent minutes. What I will say, looking at Okafor's numbers, 4 goals, but 0 assists, stands out massively. And I know we haven't been clinically in front of goal, but he's mad. He's played like 24, 25 games as Okafor. To not have registered an assist is a bit disappointing, but I do think we've seen flashes of Okafor, and for the last 8 games, if we can get him fit and firing, and he can add a couple of goals and assists to his game, which I think he can, he could be a massive asset from now to the end of the season. Forest have to win tonight. Only team who has Europe, which will hinder them for the EP. Yeah, I agree. Dulcing, let's hope so. All right, okay. How tough will Wolves game be? Watch them v Brentford. Yeah, but it's a while off yet, David, isn't it? I mean, at the minute you can't write Wolves off, I suppose, but every team that plays Wolves will look at them like they've got to target 3 points. They are still bottom of the league for a reason. They're in a purple patch now because they've got not to play for. I know people say, I heard someone say to me the other day that they may get out of it, which I think is crazy talk. I don't think there's no way they're gonna get out of it for me. But yeah, they're having a decent end to the season. Can go into the championship on a bit of a bounce, fully backing and believing in the manager, can't they? So it's a good thing for them. But you can't fear Wolves for me. You can't fear Burnley when they come Elland Road either. You can't fear Brentford really. You can respect them and give them the credit, credit and respect they deserve. But you've got to go play your game and target 3 points. You've got to target 3 points in every home game for me, whether you're playing Chuffing Real Madrid or Wolverhampton Wanderers. You've got to target 3 points. You've got to give it a go at Elland Road, and that's what we need to see from Daniel Farke. And I'm confident he's going to set up that way. I want the Spurs and Forest game to be a draw. Keeps them both behind us. Yeah, Andy, that'd be a perfect scenario, really, wouldn't it? Evening, Matthew. Hope you're good, my mate. I'm good, Michael. Hope you're good, Michael. Hope you're good, my mate. I'm looking forward to the game this week, and I know stress-free one will do. I don't know if it's going to be as easy as that, my mate. Smash a like and subscribe for our Matty, please. Cheers, Michael. Yes, please. Smash us a like, subscribe if you're new here. Being posh with the layout, mate. Just try to make it look a little bit better. To be fair, I had a little play around before I come on. I'm quite happy with it. It's not perfect, but I'm not perfect, so who cares? But cheers for noticing, mate. And there you go. Nice little bit of chat between Dave and Mike, 2 of the members of the channel. So then, Brentford, they come Elland Road in decent away form too. Let's bring up a few bits from Brentford. Let me just share my screen, as I like to do on a bit of a preview. I'll have a bit of a chinwag about Brentford. Right, so Brentford currently sat 7th in the league. Obviously going for Europe, they're only 3 points off Chelsea. The 2 points ahead of Everton. Look like they're going to consolidate that top 10 finish, which for Brentford, let's be fair, we all wrote them off. A lot of us certainly said there'd be a relegation fight. Anything but. Keith Andrews has turned out to be a fantastic coach. A set piece coach, corner coach at one point, wasn't he? But he's got them set up really well. They've got some good players at Brentford. They're a really good club. are really good at replenishing the squad when it sort of gets decimated with transfers out, and they have lost some really good key players over the last couple of years. And obviously, no more important than the manager and Thomas Frank, who took them up, got them as a Premier League side, established them, and kicked them on really to being a side looking to push into that top 10. And I didn't thought Keith Andrews would be the man to do that, but he has done. And key to that has been the home form. Played 15, won 7 at home, drawing 5, only lost 3 games at the Lego Stadium. Scoring 26 goals and 17 conceded in their own net, plus 9 goal difference. So at home, phenomenal, as you can see here. Sat 6th in the home table. That's the catalyst for any side, really, that's going to do well. I mean, you look at Leeds, we're 13th in the home table. We've lost back-to-back games at home. We're still sat 13th. That's the reason we're going to be surviving in my book is home form, even though it's took a little bit of a hit lately. It's still been a massive reason why a lot of Leeds fans, me included, have felt we've been doing okay this season, because we don't get beat very often at home, and we certainly don't get hammered at home, and we're always putting up a good game. So Brentford sat in 6th is great, but they're away from, more importantly, from coming to Elland Road, they're sat in 10th. So again, not amazing, but pretty good, really. They've lost 8 games on the road though, but won 6. When you consider, obviously there's a big gulf in where they are in league position. But we've only won 1 game away from home all season, and we know how tough it is. We've been close a few times, but Brentford have won 6 on the road. They've lost 8, but to win 6 on the road is pretty good away from, to be fair. And they've won 3 of the last 4. 3 wins backed up by a 0-0 draw at Bournemouth last time out. So their away form of late has been really good. When you look down here, let me get rid of that. When you look down here, so of recent away games, gone to Villa, 1-0. Gone to Newcastle, a place we know. We left empty-handed ourselves, which was unfortunate in the dying moments. But a 3-2 win away at Newcastle, back-to-back. That's 2 games there. You're probably thinking at that point, after back-to-back defeats against Chelsea and Forest, thinking, they're going to hit a bit of a rough patch here. With obviously Villa, Newcastle, and Arsenal all in a row, and they took 7 points from those games. I mean, that's some run, that, for Brentford, and that just sort of consolidated that top 10 sort of position they're in now, and told everyone, really, the rest of the league, that they're here really to stay, really. And then obviously they followed that with a 4-3 away at Burnley, and then a 0-0 away at Bournemouth. So 3 wins and a draw in the last 4 away from home. Concede goals, though. They do concede goals, yeah. 1-0 win at Villa, but Newcastle conceded 2. Burnley conceded 3. So we need to score goals against them. I think his defence is good enough not to concede 3 and 4 like Newcastle and Burnley, but we have to attack them. There's goals, they concede goals. They do concede goals, does this side. But when you look there, they've conceded 42 goals this season. I mean, you look where Leeds are, and I don't look at Leeds and think we've had a brilliant defence. We've conceded a lot of goals in certain games. I don't dislike his defence. I think all his defenders are really good defenders, but I don't look at us and think we're going to keep a clean sheet. What have we done? 3 or 4 this season. We don't keep clean sheets. As much as I like all our defenders, we do concede goals as a side. We've only conceded 6 more goals than Brentford, who are sat in 7th. So that goes to show you, that they've scored 9 more than us, but they've conceded only 6 less than us. So they do concede goals. So for me, we have to attack them. Attack is the best form of defence. I think in this game we'd be daft to not set up similar we did against Palace. Obviously, the main men for Brentford are Igor Thiago and Kevin Sade. Sade didn't play at Elland Road. I think he was suspended or injured. But he didn't play in that game, and that was a massive. Away at Brentford. Sorry, we got a 1-1 draw, and that was a massive reason, I think, why we came out of that away game at Brentford with a point. Sade is a brilliant player. He's got 3 assists and 7 goals, 10 G&A for that wide man. Thiago up front, massive moment in his career, getting called up for the Brazil national side. I think yesterday or today got that call. So he's going to be full of confidence, as Thiago. And then you've got Mikkel Damsgaard just in behind, who's got 3 goals himself and 4 assists. So I think between Damsgaard just in behind, Thiago and Sade on the wing, they're the sort of key men I look at. They're the difference makers. They're those X-factor players that if you're not on your game, they'll punish you. And Thiago's been fantastic. Like I say 19 goals. Couple of assists in there too. We dealt with him pretty well when we played him last time. I think Yacobiol's done really well against physical, big, strong number 9s, and he's going to have to be on his game again. Is Yacobiol. I don't think you can take Yacobiol out of this side for that reason. I think he'll have to stay in. Will Yacobiol? I don't think it's likely he'd come out anyway with a suspension to obviously Gabby Goodmanson. So I think Yacobiol could hopefully iron out Thiago, which is, I say iron out. I'm not too sure it'll be that easy, but he's a top draw player and he's going to be full of confidence getting a call up for Brazil. But yeah, Damsgaard and obviously Sharda are two of the main men as well for them. So good form, not lost in 4, 3 away wins in the last 4. Does it bode well for Leeds to get 3 points? We'll have to see, but we have to give ourselves the best opportunity to go out there and get 3 points. And I think with the fact they concede goals, when Burnley at home can score 3 against this side, yeah, they still lost 4-3. Maybe it'll be an entertaining game. Maybe it'll be back and forth, but we have to go out and attack in this game. They are vulnerable at the back and we can cause them problems. We really can. And that's all I want us to set up. I want us to set up similar to what we did against Palace. Obviously, James Justin's going to have to fill in for Gabby Goodmanson on the left-hand side. But I think the rest of the side, in my opinion, sort of speaks for itself. If he fancies playing Metcher and Calvert-Lewin up top again, I think the midfield 3 should be Ampadu, Stack and Aronson again. And I would just go for it again for me. Put Bogle on that right-hand side. Obviously, he comes back in for Gabby and they switch sides with James Justin. And I'd like to see us have a go in that sort of setting. We didn't see much of it that first half at Palace because, the red card happened at the end of the first half and that was sort of it. Then we only saw 45 minutes. In that time, we created chances. We weren't brilliant in that first half against Palace, but we missed a penalty. I thought Metcher looked really good, to be fair, coming off that right-hand side at points and driving into the box. I thought it was a handful, and I'd love to see that at home with a crowd behind us. I kind of fancy us to win this one, I do, but I'm certainly not confident saying that. But this has to be a game, and I'm sure in comment section as I get through them, you'll be saying something similar. Tough game, but one we have to target, and one, you really want to see a lineup that shows attacking intent. This for me isn't a game I want to see Gruev in. It really isn't. I don't mind if Longstaff comes in if you want a bit of a change up in there, but I want to see 2 up top. If Okafor will fully fit, I'd be quite happy to see Okafor next to DCL too. I just want to see bodies in and around DCL again, and I've got massive, sort of like massive attention to DCL this week to see how he sort of picks himself back up after that miss, because professional footballer, goal scorer, play for England, we're all hoping he gets an England squad for World Cup. We'll have to see how that goes, but Premier League experience, that penalty miss for me, no matter what he says, will be will be playing on his mind. We score that, we probably go on and win that game, and we're 2 points better off than where we are now, and we're almost there. So I do think that'll have bothered him this week, and maybe it'll be the catalyst to make him have a top performance and get maybe the match-winning goal in this one. But all eyes for me will be on DCL to see how he sort of gets through this period. Now we're not scoring in 4 or 5 games now, maybe more, and missing a penalty. Confidence is fairly low, I would assume, but his morale needs to get, there needs to be a spike in his morale here, and you get that from a goal. So fingers crossed he gets a goal. Fingers crossed if we get a penalty in him taking it, and I don't want that to be his goal. But yeah, we'll see. I've waffled on for long enough anyway. Let's see what comments are saying. Logan, you're going to the game. Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Hey, buddy, up the lip. We tend to do it the hard way. We put our chances away. I hope so too, mate. We've got to, like I keep saying, every game in Premier League's tough. There's no getting away from it. There is games that are easier than others, and this is one of them. This is a game you look at and go, yes, they're a good side, and rightly so where they are in the league. You can't deny Keith Andrews has been brilliant. But if this isn't a game you target 3 points in, which are the games? And like I say, people in chat and people are telling me, can't write Wolves off. Well, I'm not writing Wolves off either, but at some point we've got to fancy yourself to win a game. At what point do we fancy that? And for me, this is one of those games. You can respect them. You can expect a tough game, but we have to target it. Take all those likes and subscribe for that, Matty. Thank you very much, Top Banana. 2 up top for me, 2 Axe. 2 up top for me too, buddy. LFC edits. Most people said Brentford will be in a relegation mix, including me. It will be a tough game on Saturday, and in my opinion, it's a must-win. I've said that, mate. For me, it is a must-win. It is a must-win. You've only got to look at what's to come. You've literally got 3 weeks before the next Premier League game, which is too long to dwell on a defeat. So it has to be a good performance and 3 points. Because to go into an international break on bad form, it's just not a good place to be. We've been there a lot, to be fair. You're coming back for a quarter-final in FA Cup away in London at West Ham. You want a little bit of confidence going into that, but obviously the game after that, Scum away. And as much as I want to, come on here and beat my chest and say, we'll beat Scum away, maybe we will. Who knows? It's one of those games, isn't it, where if we're up for it, who knows? But let's be honest. The chances are slim that we go to Scum. Right now, sitting here now, I would suggest we lose to Scum. And that's negative, I know, but the laws of averages and logic right now staring me in the face, we lose to Scum. So this is a must-win for that reason. There's 8 games left. If we don't win this one and we lose to Scum, there's only 6 games left. Only 6 games left and it's just getting tougher and the points are running out. So because of what's to come after the international break and the fact we have an international break and all momentum sort of stopped, we need to pick up 3 points in this one. It has to be a win. And I understand a must win. If everybody else drops points, obviously bar Spurs and Forest, who may pick up a point apiece, or only one of them will take the points. But, if West Ham beat Villa, all of a sudden, they're closing the gap. So this is a huge game for Leeds to take care of their business. And I'm getting to the point now where, yes, I'm watching other results. We're all doing it. We're looking in at other games. But I do think we have to take care of our own business. And that has to be at home because we have very winnable home games. Very, very winnable home games. And this is a very winnable game. Tough, not on us game. We'll know about it and we'll be on the wrong end of the result. We will. But get it right. If Farke gets it right, I think the players are good enough to beat Brentford at Elland Road. I do. I thought we're the better side when we played them away, in my opinion. I think we can beat them at Elland Road. But the lineup has to be right. The instruction has to be right. We have to go out and attack because they do concede goals. AOP easy, my mate. It'll be good. I trust the players, but Farke is a real concern. The 49ers are the most loyal owners Farke will ever have. And I give them a great deal of credit for sticking with Farke, even though I disagree with it. Yeah, no, I think that's fair, easy. That's fair. It's going to be really interesting to see how ruthless they are in the summer. If I'm honest, I'll always be honest. As I sit here right now, I'm leaning towards a change in the summer, but that can change depending on, how the season goes from now till the end and how we end the season. I'm all about unity. I'm all about pulling together in the right direction. I think as a fan base, we all need to sort of do that right now. I definitely, even if we lost the next couple easy, I personally wouldn't want a manager change now. Even if we lost the next couple, I wouldn't personally. I don't want to end up in a situation like Spurs have. I don't want to end up in a situation like we did when we went down last time. I'd rather stick and back and gamble on what we've got being enough. But in the summer, we'll have that chat. We'll have that chat 100%. And 49ers have shown, been very loyal to him and give him a chance at probably the biggest club Farke will ever be at. But so far, so good. There's 5 teams lower than us in Premier League. 3 teams come up. We're 6th bottom. We're not in the bottom 3. And we're in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. So yeah, we can be negative and put negative spins on it and stuff. But there's also mass positives, huge positives. And like I say, this has crept up on us. I've been sound all season in the knowledge of we've got good enough players. The manager's shown adaptability, shown great qualities to pull it back from the brink when we're on the verge. I just don't want to. I feel like we're slipping slightly back into those old ways, and we just did. I thought Palace were a great opportunity to sort of kickstart that momentum again, like City away were last time. The red card, the poor officiating of the last 3 games has halted that momentum. I think that I did think that Palace were going to come. I did think at City at home when we got beat, there was a bit of momentum there where you could see what we were doing. You could see we were in the game and potentially should have had a point off them. Sunderland, massive dark cloud over that game in terms of officiating and everything, but just the way we turned up and played and the negative tactics from Farke. Don't want to see that in this game. Do not want to see that. Sunderland won a massive missed opportunity. We can't do that again for Brentford. We can't. So, yeah. Need Elland Road to be the loudest it's been on Saturday from the second the players are out of the warm-up till the final whistle. Every tackle, corner and shot needs a roar. It says Morris. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Talk about, cup finals and, every game's a big game and all, a must-win. Honestly, this feels absolutely humongous. This feels like the biggest game. I suppose every game now to end the season is probably going to be the biggest game of the season to that point. This feels huge. Absolutely massive. And I know Palace did, I know Sunderland did, all games do. But for me personally, it's crept up on me. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, this is it now. It's now or never. Have to perform. Have to get 3 points. Do you feel like Brentford having a decent away record in recent weeks is down to them potentially not being favourites in the game? And in this game, Brentford could be more of a... No, Gangid, I don't. I mean, I don't think players really think of that, to be fair. I just think they've got a really well-organised team with, 2 or 3 really, really top players in there. I look at Damsgaard, Sharda and Thiago and genuinely think all 3 of them can play, I say higher than Brentford, but you know what I mean, at a bigger club than Brentford. I really, really do. Let's be fair, if Thiago goes into that Brazil side and starts scoring goals there as well, he's going to be, highly sought after by Champions League sides. So I don't know how long he'll stay at Brentford, but they have a really good way of just, like I said, selling and buying again and making mass profits on players. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I think, if I'm honest, I think it comes out of having a couple of really, really top players who, when the game's tight, which they've had a lot of tight games, and they've conceded a lot of goals because they can be got at. I think the difference makers, they play up top. They're really good on the counter. They're quick transitions, and if you're not on it, and you sort of put too many people forward on an attack, you'll get caught in transition, and they'll go score a goal or two. So we've got to be mindful of that. But I really just put a lot of it down to the manager. I really do. He's gone in there and been superb, and they're really good at set pieces too. Really well organised, and they're all playing with a smile on their face. It seems like a really harmonious squad. Does the Brentford squad? Really, really good club, going places, and they're all playing with a smile on their face, which is half the battle sometimes. I'm not so sure on the favourites tag, but I know where you're going with that. But I sort of just think they've got a couple of really, really top players at the top end of the pitch, and goals, win your games, and they get you high place in the Premier League. And if you've got a player that's scored 19 goals in your side, then you're going to be, in with a massive chance of beating every team. Because when it's a tight game, if you've got someone of that quality, I mean, we've lauded DCL at times. I know he's going through it a little bit now. He isn't everyone's cup of tea at the minute, but when he was scoring every other game and he hit his 10 goals before he dropped off, we were like, whoa, wow, they've got someone on 19. That's how good their striker is. We're not using squad very well. Not Tanaka on the bench. Yeah, Jason Lee. I'd like to see them utilised more. If I'm honest, I think you can wave bye-bye to Tanaka. I'd be surprised if you see him play 90 minutes in total in the last 8 games. I'd be surprised, and that includes cup games. I think you're going to see very little of Tanaka, maybe odd sub appearance. And I think his little time at Leeds will end in summer. I really do, and that's sad because I'm a massive fan of Tanaka. I actually thought he'd be first name on team sheet coming into the Premier League. He'd be the sort of star man to transition from Championship to Premier League. I thought he'd be the best of that bunch. Nonto, I think, will play a role, but he hasn't played mass minutes with Okafor out the side, Okafor back in. That will hamper him. But it all depends on the sort of lineup and formation we sort of play. If he's going to go for it more in games, he's going to play a bit more attacking, then Nonto will get more minutes. If he's going to play reserved, keep DCL more isolated and not wanting to commit bodies in the remaining 8 games and cup competitions, Nonto won't play much. But yeah, I feel like they've got a couple of aces up his sleeve there, Jason, which he just tends not to pull out very often. Henderson is a one to watch. I hate him so much. He'll have a good game. Yeah. We will do these easy ones, this, Chris. Hope you're good, my mate. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Henderson. I don't mean top banana. I think he's just similar Longstaff. He'll always do a decent job in there, but for me, he ain't a threat. He ain't a threat. He's a professional player. Loads of caps for England. Won a lot of stuff in his time and stuff. But I'm not too sure. I look at top end at pitch. I think you look at Henderson. I think Ampadu can match Henderson in there, in my opinion. Top banana. Yeah, I really do. I don't like him. Don't really rate him as a player, to be honest. But yeah, professionalism, energy, and all that. I get it. It's a bit of a shit house. There'll be refs here. There'll be a fair few dirty tactics and dark arts, I'm sure, with having Henderson on team and having Keith Andrews as your manager. But I think Ampadu is a better player than Henderson, in my opinion. This result will mean we are playing Brentford. It feels that big, Christopher. It feels that big. It really does. I think win this game, and there's no doubt we'll stay up. Lose this game, and you start to doubt even more, especially with the break, especially with the FA Cup game to come up. We need to win this game. It's huge. It's a huge, huge, huge game. Villa have made 5 changes, have they? Yeah, Gavin, we're going to touch on that towards the end, but I'll mention it now, mate. Anton Stack called up for Germany. Absolutely brilliant. Nervous that, he picks up an injury or two. He's one of the players we can't afford to lose. Weird, considering the German manager sort of slated him a few weeks ago, made us all sort of think he ain't going to pick him, which was a bit weird. But we know how good Stack is. And for him to go play for Germany again, like I was talking about Thiago, it's a massive shot in the arm for him. It's going to massively boost his confidence. And I think it's a decent reward for what's been a brilliant season for Stack so far. I think he should be playing for Germany. I really do. I think he's that good. Will he start both games? I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. But it is going to have an impact on him coming back to Leeds, whether he's injured or whether he's fit or not when he comes back. We'll have to see. But sorry, I'm just before this game's gone off. 83 in the chat, only 41 likes. Come on, help out, Matt. Yeah, please smash us a like if you don't mind. Really appreciate that. And please subscribe if you're new here. Thomas Sharper, great concept, pal. Keep them coming. I will, Thomas. I will keep it coming. Don't you worry about that, mate. And thanks for your comment, mate. Appreciate it. 3 points, no more draws. Yeah, Roger, it's got to change at some point. The draws are okay away from home as long as you're winning at home. And that's how you've got to look at it. We've lost too many home games now. We can't keep drawing games. We just can't. Win against Brentford at home and then go get a draw at Old Trafford. Happy days. Happy days. You're going to end up with not winning games, drawing or obviously losing. You're going to end up getting to a point where you have to win certain games, and you don't want to be going to West Ham on last day having to win to stay up. You don't want to get to a point where you're going to scum and it's a must win. This one sort of takes a little bit of pressure off that game for me. It does. You can go to scum, and if you come out of a point, it's good. But lose this game and you've got to go to scum and get a result. Win this game, you're on 35 points. Farker will say you won't win away then with 7 games to go. At that point, we probably are safe, not mathematically, but you'd back us to get 3 points in the last 7. I would suggest. But this has to be one we target. Has to be. He can't be negative in his approach in this one, Farker. He can't be negative. Really has just got to go for it. Yeah, we're not good after international breaks, mate. Jason Lee, I think Farker will get scared and start Gruev. Yeah, we'll have to see. But he'll have to bear the brunt of the fans. And what if it doesn't work out? Because no one's going to be happy with that lineup. But again, I'm sure you'll share with me. We'll back the boys no matter who lines up. We'll back them. But you just got to hope he goes out with a better attacking mentality like he did against Palace. Because I think that was the right selection at Palace. Just so happened the red card and the referee ruined the game. I think they'll start at the end of the season, Logan. They've already started markings out and pulling temporary cables in and stuff. I think I'm going to do a bit of work as well, which is quite exciting. Farker is a lucky manager, and sometimes you have to ride out that luck, but you have to upgrade when the time is right. Grayson's luck got us up on the last day, but we should have replaced him then. He almost got us up again, though, finished 7th, didn't we? Yeah, Clive, 100%. And you've also got to sell players when the time's right. I mean, this doesn't sound that crazy now because I don't think everyone's too arsed on DCL at the minute, which is a bit harsh. But even when he had that hot form, even if DCL were on 15 goals now, he's on 10, which is pretty respectable. He's had a good season. But like if someone comes in with 20 million for DCL, you probably just got to sell him. Rather than take the risk of him ending up like another Bamford, and being injured, because maybe at some point that creeps back in. I think they've got to be ruthless this summer, when we stay up, whether that's the manager, whether that's some of our favourite players, I'm not too sure, but they are going to have to be ruthless. Decent sides in the Premier League lose some of their best players, they really do. PSR and all that shit, all finances that are involved in football, but sometimes you've just got to take a deal if it makes sense financially, and then back the recruitment policy that they get it right and they bring someone in for maybe less money, and you've got a profit, and they're as good, if not better. So that's how we've sort of got to look at it. But yeah, certainly there comes a time where you've got to make that call. But we'll have to see. I honestly think the 49ers sack Fark if Brentford beat us. I'd be shocked easy. I don't feel like it's as much nervous. I don't think it's sort of like at that stage within the club. I really don't. I think the club are still quite cool on it, in my opinion. Not saying it's right or wrong or whatever, but I genuinely feel like the club, if we lose to Brentford, yeah, they'll be annoyed. They'll be angry. They'll be nervous and all the things that fans are feeling. But I don't think it's panic stations at that point. It will be for some of us fans, don't get me wrong, but I'm not too sure in club. I'm really not. It only takes Villa to beat West Ham, which could happen. It only takes a draw at Forest and Spurs, and we're still sat 15th. Still sat 15th with 5 teams lower than us. So it's more, we've got to do our business, but there is still an opportunity, still a chance, easy, that if we lose, that the other sides around us lose or drop points or don't pick up maximum points. That is a thing too. So I keep saying must win, must win, must win. And if we lose every game, but everybody else loses games or picks up odd point and they don't jump us, it doesn't really matter, does it? So yeah, I sort of understand where you come from in terms of it's a massive game and we need to be targeting a win here. But I ain't too sure they'll sack him, mate. But that's just my opinion, mate. Maybe I'm way off with that. Full-time Leeds, how are you doing, mate? Hopefully Farker doesn't bottle this game like he did against Sunderland. Yeah, certainly bottled it. There were no sort of like belief for me that he could go win that with an attacking side, which is mental when you look at the players we've got and the approach he took at Palace. That Sunderland game was right up there as one of the worst I've seen this season. And yes, I still, it came out the other day, didn't it, about, the PJMOL saying it should have been a goal. A penalty, sorry, for Leeds, should have been a penalty. I mean, just tell us what we're all thinking, obviously it should have been a penalty. You can't strangle someone in box, but there's no point, it doesn't help us now, does it? So we've just got to move on with it, but we're definitely a poor performance. We scored 0 goals in the last 3 Prem games. The attacking tactics need to change. Sly, we've been really lacklustre in front of goal. You know, you look at a missed penalty, you know, inches from another one going over the line, where keeper sort of almost put it in his own net when he caught it. There's been a few moments. I do think, you know, like I said, Sunderland were horrendous, but one of those games was City. City and Sunderland back to back were horrendous games for us in general. But we should have had a penalty. We've missed a penalty. We've had opportunities and we haven't been clinical. I think Brentford, we have to get that monkey off his back. We have to score. Preferably DCL gets one. But yeah, I do think with a bit more of an attacking instruction, Sly, I do think we can score against Brentford. If Burnley can score 3 past them at their place, I'm pretty sure Leeds can score a couple of goals in this one. You don't want to be going into international break with a loss and another game we're not scoring, Sly, because it's a long time to dwell on it before an FA Cup quarter-final, then scum away. That makes this game even bigger with what's to come in next 3 weeks. It makes it even bigger. If Fark goes to Naka, because yeah, Clive, potentially. I do think if Farker left and we still had the whole squad there before we made any decisions on outgoings, I do think there's a conversation where a lot of these players will be like, let's just hold on and see what happens with manager. If they get wind he's staying, then I think they'll move on. 100% Nonto, Tanaka, James, there'll be a few of them potentially move on. I mean, if we get relegated, which I don't think we do, they'll all probably stay and get us back up. And probably manager won't be here as well. But yeah, if Farker stays, that'll be in Tanaka's mind, because if he doesn't, I do think he'll get played by another manager or at least be given more minutes. I really, really do. Yeah, well, he went out on loan first season, didn't he, Clive? And then when Bielsa came in, he ended up being one of our most important players. So yeah, you bang on with that, mate. Hey up, Matrick. Novel idea tomorrow night. What's in Johnny Giles' piles? It's a winner. I'm not going there with that one, pal. I'm not going there with that one, but yeah, I love that, mate. Hopefully he'll be watching anyway. Class that. It won't happen, Logan. It never does, mate. It never does. Tanaka, the upgrade seems to be stack. However, no excuses to limit AO's minutes to the extent the first choice players' workload is too heavy. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree on all that. It's he's literally, you know, put him to the side and he's sort of just, falling out of love with him, man, which is mental, absolutely mental. We've seen it do it before. I said it last season about Ramazani. Tanaka's literally this season's Ramazani, like 100%. Ramazani had 4 or 5 games where they were warming up on sideline and didn't even come on. He was an unused sub for 4 or 5 games in a row. Mental. And Tanaka's that guy this year. It's like every year Farker has a player that we all rate and he don't. Ultimately, if the results on the pitch deem we didn't need that player and we get enough points and we stay up or, you know, win the championship 100 points, it don't actually matter. But we all have favourites as fans and we all see value in certain players. And I think a lot of us see value in Tanaka. He's had a couple of iffy games when he's had his opportunity lately. But his nerves are shot. His confidence is shot. What do you expect? He ain't going to come in under this sort of scrutiny when everyone will be looking at him, you know, and sort of just expect him to play people off at park. He's still trying to adapt to this level, you know. He's had some good moments in the Premier League, but he's certainly at the minute. I certainly look at Tanaka and think he'll be struggling with confidence. He'll be struggling mentally, and I do think he needs a couple of decent games in terms of minutes. You know, maybe a couple of starts to try and blow them cobwebs away. I don't think you're going to see the best of Tanaka coming on with 20 minutes to go if he even gets given that role, which at the minute looks unlikely that he is. We do, Trevor. We do, 100%. Tanaka started against Everton and was excellent. Evening, Matt, are you okay? But I'm good, John Pepper. How are you, my mate? Are you good? Fans give him an easy right. What, Farker? I like Tanaka. They always try. I think they all try. I think, you know, as a professional footballer, Chris, it's got to be bare minimum that you try and you show effort. And Tanaka cares. That's one thing he does. He cares. Clive, 7th isn't almost getting us up. That team was good enough for automatic. Grayson was the weak link. I think that's harsh, though, that, Clive. If you talk about Simon Grayson, I think from when you're a League One side and you get promoted to Championship and then finish 7th, I think that's harsh to sort of say Grayson what weak link there. But again, opinions, mate, and you know, I've got a memory like a sieve, but yeah, I can remember Max Gradle having a good year that year too. But yeah, I think to go from League One to 7th in Championship in a bad effort, to be fair, in my opinion, mate. But if you disagree, that's fine. Who would you like to come in if we did part ways with Fark in this summer? I don't know, Morris. I really don't. I've got no one in mind as of right now. I mean, if I stood here and said Thomas Frank, people would laugh at me, but I'm not too sure. There's some decent managers out of work who will be remembered poorly for their recent jobs, you know. Ange, obviously Thomas Frank. These managers out on the continent who young, exciting, play a decent brand of football. Young managers who would jump at the chance of managing in Premier League. So there's maybe a few out there we don't even know, Morris, to be honest. But there'll be the obvious ones, the ones who are out of work now, who will be top of the bookies list. I would assume if we sat Farker in the summer, your Franks, your Postacoglu's, they'd be right at the top of the bookies list just because they've worked in England and they know the sort of system and stuff. So I'm not too sure. Again, I'd have to just see as and when or if it happens. Farker leaves in Jan. He said, Farker leavers in Jan. He said everyone in the group was happy and no one had asked to leave. Days later, Jack Harrison pushed for a move. Pirro just sat on the bench, wasting a year of his career. Mixed messages. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. So I think he's done brilliant as Farker to keep a lid on anybody in the club that isn't too happy, because I find it hard to believe that everybody's happy in that dressing room. I find it hard to believe. There's no way it's Tanaka, Nonto, there's just no way. But then I used to say the same about Ramazani, but then you saw him on, in the celebrations after we got promoted, which I think, is right anyway. You're going to celebrate and stuff. But like you look at that and you think, he were buzzing. Like, you're just happy to be part of celebrations. But there's no way he's happy every week sitting on bench, not getting minutes. I think there's got to be one or two in there now who are thinking, my God, just get this manager out of club. One or two, you can't tell me. I'd be surprised if there isn't. I'd be surprised. You'd like to think it's a harmonious group and everything we see sort of says it is. But again, I don't know. We'll have to see. But again, to bring it back to Brentford, I'd love to see a similar lineup to what we saw at Palace. I really would. Not having Gabby Goodmanson flying down the left-hand side is a little bit of a worry. It is a little bit of a concern, I can't lie. But James Justin's outstanding. He's probably played the same amount of games on the left-hand side of his career as he has on the right. 85 likes, 111 watching. Lovely. Thank you so much. Do me a favour if you haven't already. Let's get to 100 likes as soon as possible. I'd really appreciate that. So smash that like button if you don't mind. And please subscribe if you are new to my channel. Steve, we win Saturday. The pressure is on the others. Big style. I think 8 or 9 points will do us. Yeah, I think 8's got to be what we're all sort of looking at, mate. I really do. Forest, the throw on pens then, so they move on. Happy days. We'll take that. I've just had a message. Is that right? Yeah. Forest throw on pens. Sweet. We'll take that. Yeah, sound. Yeah, just checking. But yeah, I think 8 points is minimum. That gets us to 40. I know some are saying 6. Farker's saying 6 points is enough, but I really think 8 has to be what we're looking at. I don't want to just limp off a line. I really don't. And I sort of look at it and think the way we end our season may determine whether Farker's still in charge next season. If you limp over the line and you've got to go to West Ham and win at last day, I think it's a bad look. I think while we've got the home games we've got and even 2 of the away games, the sides that are below us, with six bottom, 5 teams below us in the league, and we've got to play 4 of them. That's, good luck really when you look at fixtures. It's played out quite nicely for us. We've got a really decent run of games there where Leeds can go, be in charge of their own destiny. We can't limp over the line. Go hit 40, and then, that should be enough. And if it isn't enough, he said in his press conference 32, some seasons may be enough. Most seasons may keep you up. Last season would have kept us up. Again, I don't like that mentality. There's enough there to go get enough points to get 40. To be on 32 with 8 to go isn't a bad place to be. I think so easy. He would love it. I think so. We will be lucky to hold on to Goodmanson. Yeah, but you know what it is, Christopher, with that, as much as I love Gabby Goodmanson, if someone comes in with 25, 30 million quid, maybe you've got to sell him. If it costs us 10 million quid, maybe you've got to sell him. If somebody comes in and slaps down 25, you say, give us 30 and you can have him. Maybe that's where we've got to go with this. Maybe that's where we've got to go with it. And he's been one of our best players this season, one of his best signings. Anton Stack, what we signed him for 18 million. Maybe someone slaps 40 down for Stack and Leeds have got to look at it. You can't lose all your best players, no, but we aren't going to sell everybody. But there may be a couple, we saw when we got promoted, well, we didn't get promoted, when we lost at Wembley, we never really thought we'd be in a position where we lost Archie as well as Rutter and Somerville. That was a big shock at the time. Bloody hell, Archie's going. But sometimes the money's just too much to turn down or something's triggered and it's like, wow, maybe we signed Anton Stack and in his contract there were a £40 million release clause. We don't know the details of everything. But maybe something like that happens. Maybe we lose 1 or 2 that we wouldn't want to. I think we've all got a fair idea of if Farker's still in charge, you may lose a Tanaka, Nonto, Pirro, and you can get a bit of money for them free. But maybe there's another one. Maybe there's a big deal from a big player to go out. Maybe a Stack, maybe a Goodmanson, maybe a DCL. Maybe there's a pot of money coming for a player we don't really want to lose, but you just can't say no. So be interested to see how we do it. But we do have to be ruthless. You do have to always look at upgrading. And I think there's a fair few spots we can upgrade in for sure. How do Matthias Forestiche? I don't know what it says, but yeah, I'm all right in the Leeds game. Hope you're good, mate. Low Fields for me, great name. All our favourite players are all up for sale. It's called life. It's a business. They are playing for it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Everyone's up for sale, and until that window slams shut for me, we'll say this played it for sale, that played it for sale. We don't want to lose him, especially as fans. But 100%, if someone comes in with a right good amount for a player, then everyone's got a price. Everyone's got a price. Oh, nice no layout. Cheers, mate. Cheers, pal. I've had this layout a few times, to be fair. I've had it a few times. And I just tweak it for certain stuff. But yeah, maybe fourth time I've used something similar to this. But I appreciate it. It's all just done on Canva. I know a few of the big YouTubers spend a bit of money and get like proper layout design from that, which costs bloody hell of a lot of money. You know me, I don't have a pot to piss in. So I designed this one myself. Very basic, but thank you for, I've had about 3 or 4 comments for it. So it was worth the effort and time. Thank you very much. Cheers to both of you. How you doing, Darcy? Yeah, of course it is. He's been massive to us. That left-hand side, such a threat with him. We're definitely not going to offer as much attacking now down that side. So we're probably going to have to go down right-hand side a lot more. Bogle's going to have to be up down that right-hand side and getting up at top as much as he can. But, I mean, James Justin, he gives us a solid base. We're not going to be as open down that side. He can tuck in. Bogle can push forward, he can tuck in, and they can shift over with Rodon pushing out to that right-hand side as well. So I reckon you'll see that quite a lot. Bogle pushing on, tucking in James Justin and sort of make a 4 when we've got the ball attacking. Ayo can score goals. Farker was like that. Will be enough for that. Get on there. Oh, he can score goals. Get off. Yeah, he had best week of his career, didn't he? Liverpool and Chelsea, then we've really seen him since. Look what Farker did to Bamford. He could have been useful last season based on what he's doing with Sheffield United. I agree. I disagree on that though, Clive. I was happy to see Bamford go personally. Again, he's playing for Sheffield United, who were struggling in Championship. I don't think. I think he were always going to look a decent player at Sheffield United. Do you know what I mean? You look how poor they've been this season. He were always going to go there and look one of the best players for me. I tell you what, it would have been though. It'd have been more useful than Pirro. I can't disagree on that one. If Bamford would have been on our bench, sat next to Pirro this season, Farker would have turned to Bamford this season 100%. 100% when he hasn't turned to Pirro. So in terms of use this season, he would have got more minutes than Pirro would, Bamford, in my opinion. But I'm not bothered he's moved on. Yeah, I think so too, mate. Mick Jones being honoured at Elland Road on Saturday night, one of my favourite favourite players in the Revy years. I sound like David. I'll be there, mate. I'll give him a clap from you too, buddy. Forest half through. The other team hit the post twice. Ha ha. Yes, it's nice to see him go through and stretch to the maximum minutes as well, mate. Cheers, Darcy. Gifted. One Imagine Not Being Leeds membership. Thank you. Really appreciate that, Darcy. Yes, you can become a member of the channel if you choose to do so. So thank you very much for that, Darcy. You're a legend. No way should we be going for a failed manager. Yeah, but every manager for me has failed at some point. Emery I don't think is going to leave Villa. I think that's what happened, Clive. But yeah, I'd love it. Don't get me wrong, I'd love it. But if you're a manager that's not got a club, tends to be that you've sacked or something's gone wrong towards the end of the tenure at your old club. But yeah, I'd love Emery. Don't get me wrong, mate. He'd transform us, wouldn't he, and make us a established side. But yeah, I mean, again, I want Farker to succeed. So if Farker's here next season and we finish the season strong and we go into the next season with him in charge, I ain't going to moan all summer about sacking him if we end the season well, that's for sure. And there'll be a lot of people say, right, get rid now. And I sort of understand that. And I'm sort of there as well. But I certainly aren't going to kick off about it. Just survive this season. And whatever the club and the board go with Clive, I'm quite happy to go with that too. Because I trust the 49ers, I really do. Rightly or wrongly. I do. We need Longstaff in. I'd like that John Pepper. I do think it's unlikely. I mean, if there's a change in that midfield, it's probably more likely puts Gruev in. But let's hope it's Aronson that's going to be in that midfield. I do like the 3-5-2 with Aronson as one of the three. Although sometimes it's more of a 3-4-3 in it, and you've just got Stack and Ampadu in there, and Aronson's a bit more further forward. They sort of vary between formation. I think when you saw it at Palace, 3-4-3 at times, a 3-5-2 at times, 3-5-1-1. I quite like the variations between, but I think Aronson will always be in that side. So I think Longstaff's just going to have to continue as a bit part player, which is a bit of a shame. I think he's better than that. It's gone to the Leeds Gamer. Class. That's a great result, says Lowfields for me, as they got 2 more games to play. Yeah, 2 more games, more games. They've been taken to maximum amount of minutes they could have played today as well, which is brilliant. Brilliant. Cheers, Darcy, your top one. What do you think should be the starting 11? And what's my score prediction? Well, Logan, my starting 11 for this game will be Darlow in net, James Justin, Bogle, Strauch, Beal, Rodon. Same as Palace, but just with Bogle in for Goodmanson. And then, so then Aronson, Ampadu, Stack with DCL and Metcha up top. That'd be my preference. Although I really, really like the idea of Willie Gnonto starting maybe instead of Metcha. But at the minute, I'm actually fancying Metcha to DCL, but he won't take DCL out. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against Metcha and Gnonto playing up top and maybe take DCL out for this one, but that sounds crazy talk. So I think just stick with what we had at Palace. Goodmanson comes out, Bogle comes in, Bogle stays on right, and James Justin goes to the left. I kind of think he'll do that, I really do. That for me is more of a home sort of side, and he played it away at Palace. And I don't think it were poor. It were a poor first half, but I don't think it were down to the system. I actually think, the players that came in did well. I'd love to see that start in this one. I really would. James J, probably a better defender than Gabby. Yeah, defender, I agree. Maybe we can stagger which flank focus attacks through. Maybe an orthodox winter in James' flank. Yeah, I think so, mate. I think you'll see as attack down right side a lot more, to be fair. An orthodox winger in Justin's flank. Maybe he'll mix it up. He even mentioned in press conference today, didn't he? That we've got a few options at left back. He said Byram's name, which made me laugh. And he spoke about maybe we could play a winger there, which he isn't going to do, obviously. But yeah, maybe they'll line up where there's a winger on that side to facilitate him. Yeah, I think we get 40, mate. I do. Clive, that is crazy talk. Clive, honestly, right? You come up with some good points. Sometimes it's wild, mate, right? And you know me, I try and bring every comment up. I'm not a dick. But that is wild. Simon Grayson, our worst ever manager. Were you there when, Hockaday were there and Evans, Heckingbottom? I mean, come on, Darko Milanic, Jesse Marsh, the worst ever. I mean, that's wild, mate. That is so beyond the truth. It's unbelievable. That's like April Fools. I'm absolutely pulling you, Todd. There's absolutely no way on earth is Simon Grayson anywhere near our worst manager. Like, he got us promoted. How many managers have actually got Leeds promoted? He got promoted, mate. Like, crazy talk, mate. Nah, GG's 50 mil, I reckon. I think that's a bit wild as well, mate. Not as wild as Simon Grayson being worst ever manager, but I don't think we get 50 million for GG. I'd like it. I'd rather not sell it, to be honest. But 95 likes, 150 watching. Class. Please smash us a like. Let's get to 100 likes. If you don't mind, please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Performances from our international players could affect some players for bigger price. Yeah, of course it could. Chat's popping off. Oh, funny. There you go. That's what I said there, mate. Chat's just popping off at Clive. Spending rules matter. Have you seen the penalties for breaching spending caps next season? Worst of them is in-season penalties applied immediately, be a 6-point deduction more. Is that everyone outside Man City and Chelsea? So is that everybody else bar them two? Yeah. Yeah, let's agree to disagree. Evening, Gipton White. So I hope you're good, my friend. I didn't get your score prediction either, did I? It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. I'm going to back us to win. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. But I aren't confident on it. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. Ken Bates chat. It's gone down some right little side road. This preview for Brentford, hasn't it? Bogle being absolutely unreal this season, says Morris. Definitely in the top 3 wing backs this season. And I stick by that. Can't name much that's been better than him this season. I agree. I think it's been a seamless transition from Championship to Premier League, Morris. And I backed him to do it, to be fair. I thought defensively get caught out at times, which he has been. But I think he's been better than a lot expected. Considering what Sheffield United said when we signed him, he can't defend, he's no good and all that. One of their better players in the Premier League when he was at Sheffield United, conceded a lot of goals, but he was at Sheffield United, one of the poorest Premier League attempts of any side going up. One of that season for them, really poor. Ampadu were there too, wasn't he? But yeah, you look at Bogle and he's been outstanding. And we talk about DCL and England and all that. Bogle for me should be in conversation for England. He really should. I don't think he gets there, especially in a World Cup year. If it were a bit of a bit not a World Cup year and it was like a lot of friendlies and stuff, maybe you get a game for England. I genuinely think he should be in conversation. And I've heard murmurings from just fans in general saying he can't be far off consideration. And that's fair play to him. We had it with Luke Ayling, didn't we? When he was playing well for Leeds in Premier League, we're like, oh, maybe he should get a crack at England. Never happened. I do think Bogle's a better player than Ayling, and I loved Ayling. Absolutely loved him. Evening, Edwin. How are you doing, my mate? Hope you're good. Sidekick. Bielsa had an average team and made them look good. That's what great managers do. They do the best. I take a point at Elland Road on Saturday. Oh, mate, no, Skip. We don't shake on a point at Elland Road. That's not what we do, buddy. No. See me forget Brentford are doing really well with arguably Keith Andrews having a good first season. I mean, it might be a point. I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds, but if I'm honest, I can see it being a 1-1 draw. Based on the last few games, do I see us scoring 2 goals? I'm not too sure, but based on the goals they've conceded in away games, I think we can score a couple of goals. I do. It's whether we can keep them out the other way. They've got some talented players, but yeah, we're going to have to be on his A game. We've got to be careful on transitions because the counter attacks are superb. They can score from, the keeper making a save to 10 seconds later, it's in back of your net. So we really need to be steady on. And they are a top side, Skip. There's no two ways about it. It's one of those teams where I think they'll drop off this week. They'll drop off this week. And they've just carried on being going. It's been relentless. The form, when they've lost a couple, they've then gone on a decent run and not losing in 4 or 5. But instead of drawing 3 or 4 of them games, they're picking up back-to-back wins. Something we've not been able to do this season. And it's something that needs to change. And we haven't got many games to do it. So I wouldn't take a point. But I think we may end up sharing the points. I ain't gonna lie. I think it might go that way. But I'm gonna back us to win, just because. At what point do I back us to win if this isn't one of them? Front foot, tempo, trusting his ability on the ball, being braver on the ball. I think when you can keep a side like Palace out, and don't get me wrong, Palace were turgid, but I think when you can keep a side like Palace out, who's got some threatening players with 10 men at home now. That'll have restored a lot of confidence in the side. We haven't had many clean sheets this season, but to go toe to toe with a side who was in Europe and Palace and they've got signed a player, 50 million pound player that we wanted, and you can keep them quiet and not registered a shot on your goalkeeper in 45 minutes with a man down. Defensively, it's going to give our defenders a lot more confidence. I thought Ampadu were outstanding at Palace, really good off the ball. We just need to make sure we don't rely on that too much, and we give ourselves an opportunity to go win the game too, because we have to start scoring goals. We have to get DCL back in the goals. 8 to go, 8 games to go, and it's done. And it's only now we're all starting to nip a little bit. We're all starting to nip a little bit and being like, where's this come from? Too many draws is where it's come from. Too many safe lineups, too many risk-averse players playing when you've got attacking quality on the bench, match winners on the bench. This has to be a game we have a pop. We have to have a pop at them. Sloop the good, the 7th. They've got Igor up top who's on 19 goals. The good. Igor Thiago, 19 goals, just been called up for Brazil. What were we like as fans when Rafinha were playing for Brazil? We were over the moon, as if we've got a Brazilian playing for us on wing. How good's that? It's been, look at R9 and all these players that play for Brazil. He's been called up to Brazil to be a striker. I'm not saying he's going to start. He's certainly not R9. But Brentford have a Brazilian international striker who played for them. I was on 19 Premier League goals. So that always gives you an opportunity to go win a game of football when you've got a player as in form as that, who's going to be so confident, super, super confident, coming to a Leeds United side who are struggling towards the bottom end of the Premier League now. struggling. I use it loosely because I didn't feel like we were, but the facts are we are sort of nipping a little bit, and they've got a Brazilian striker, so they've got some great players: Damsgaard, Sharda, Henderson tucks in. They've got some really good players, and they're going to be tough to beat, mate. They really are going to be tough to beat. Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling stressed now, Logan. Like I say, I keep saying all the time, boring you all to death. Probably it's crept up on me. Chris, I've said this a lot though. Over years, I've always felt like, we know how heavy the Leeds United badge is. It's a heavy shirt, and there's been some absolute tripe play for us over years that haven't, warranted wearing it for me. Haven't been good enough players and good enough characters to wear it. I do think we've got a group that care. I do, and I feel like it's been a good season. There is a lot of teams still below us. It's been a good season, but all of a sudden now, Chris, I'll be honest with you, the pressure feels like it's been cranked right up now in the last week or so. Really has been cranked up, and I kind of feel like the players have probably been fairly confident all season because they've been a match for most teams. There's only been a couple where we've looked out of place. The rest of the season we've mixed it with big boys as well. Not been beaten by Chelsea, picking up 4 points against them, 2 points against Liverpool. Played some good sides who haven't been able to get best of Leeds, but all of a sudden this pressure, and we're at Elland Road and the 8 o'clock kickoff under the lights, which sort of tarnished that under the lights last few games by not picking up, not putting in performances under the lights, which we sort of were led to believe we couldn't be beating under the lights at one point. But like all of a sudden, we're out of form, we're not scoring goals, our talisman ain't scoring goals and missing penalties, not even able to hit target from penalty spot. And there's teams now below us who are in better form than us. So we have to turn it on at some point, Chris. We have to turn it back on. And this is a great opportunity to do so. But the pressure all of a sudden is cranked up. It has been cranked up. In case people don't know, Matty does have some cracking t-shirts for sale and has done a few songs available to listen. Please tickle those likes and subscribe. Thanks, Top Banana. Yeah, I do have on my YouTube description, I've got a link to my my t-shirt site. And yeah, if you want to search Imagine Not Being Leeds on any of your music streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, there is an album on there too if you want to have a little listen. But yeah, appreciate you shouting out, Top Banana. You know me, I don't shout out too much. But yeah, he said if you need to, thank you. Start Willie, then bring Okafor on for 25 minutes so you can run at them. I'd like that, Darcy. I'd like that. Again, I'm a massive fan of Metcher and DCL playing up top, but I wouldn't mind seeing Nonto giving a start either. I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Honestly, talk about League One days. Tickle that like button, Chase Loop. Really appreciate that. Be nice in chat, guys. It is there is some absolute mental stuff being said, but if DCL gets a call up for England, he'll get a hell of a game Saturday night. His conference will be lifted. Yeah, when do we find out about the England squad, Morris? I thought it was today, but has it not been announced yet? I know Germany squad has. I know a few others have. Yeah, I haven't seen England one. I think DCL needs a rest. He's not scored. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of on that thing now. There's this notion, isn't there, that DCL's the only striker that can get Leeds up the pitch. I understand he's the best in the air, and I like it when we go direct. But there is a conversation now that you can't just keep playing people who are out of form. As much as I think sometimes, if they're such an important, integral part of your squad, full-time Leeds, you sometimes got to let them play through the poor form. But I wouldn't be against taking DCL out of this side. I don't think he does, but I wouldn't be against it. He's played a lot of minutes this season, and I do think Metcher looked good at Palace, in my opinion. Maybe you go Metcher and Nonto, and again, it will be an unpredictable lineup. Like that'd be something they wouldn't account for. And I quite like throwing a curveball from time to time. So maybe a Metcher and Nonto as a two up top, Nonto playing on shoulder of Metcher would be a decent surprise to spring on a Keith Andrews. But I don't think it will be. It'll be either a bit more of a risk-averse side, and you see Aronson playing alongside DCL with Gruev back in there, or it's something similar we saw at Palace, which would be my choice. A new squad cost ratio, brutal new rules, and allowed 85% revenue, 6 to 10 point immediate deduction, then more if. All right, okay. Yeah, I've seen something about changing from PSR. Might be an idea to develop the academy. Well, that's a dream scenario, isn't it? We've got a few coming through, haven't we? But don't seem to do what we used to do, and have a conveyor belt like we used to. Wow, we're still talking about Grayson. This is mad. The Leeds game, 2-1 to Leeds versus Brentford. It will most likely end up being a Desmond 2-2. Yeah. I mean, a draw isn't the worst result in the world, obviously, but it needs to be more than that. 3-1 Leeds, DCL stack, Okafor score. Darcy, that'd be decent, wouldn't it? Especially a couple there, Okafor. If he gets on and scores a goal, brilliant. I felt like he was just coming into form before his latest injury, and obviously DCL to get a goal, it could be massive to us staying up, mate. It really could be. I am loving his confidence too. DCL and Metcha score with Stack and Aronson assist. Thiago scores for them, assisted by Sharda. And I'll be having lottery numbers off you for next week if that comes in, my mate. Try and be nice in chat, guys, honestly. I know there's some mental takes, but let's just, Hey up, Lou. How you doing, my mate? Hey, Matty. Late joining. Match this week is critical. Need to set the tone going into the break and also final run. Yeah, it's... If you serve up a really poor performance in this, Lou, and then you've got to, like I say, sit out for international break, and then you go into a quarter final and then scum away, it's the worst sort of time for me to hit poor form. And it feels like we are sort of, on the decline a little bit. Can we just, put in a performance that spikes everyone's confidence again? Because all of a sudden I do feel like it's crept in. There'll be nerves, definitely nerves on Saturday night, Elland Road. The fans, the players, it's crept in all of a sudden. And a win against Brentford, who had a decent side, but not on it, unbeatable side by any stretch, would just set the tone, I think, for a really good end to the season. We can all go on international break feeling probably pleased for the break. To be fair, you lose that game, it's not ideal, obviously, with a break. But you win that game, right? Let's have a week or so where Leeds don't ruin his weekend. Let's have a bit of time away, and then we'll look forward to FA Cup again. Lose this game, you've got a very nervous, anxiety-ridden couple of weeks, a cup game that more people will give less of a fuck about because you've lost another Premier League game, and then scum away, which lose this, lose cup. We could be talking 3 weeks' time out at cup, back to, 4 losses in a row. Well, 4 losses in 5, in Premier League, and all of a sudden it's a shit show at Elland Road and everyone's panicking. So it's vital for me that a good performance happens on Saturday night, and that good performance equals 3 points. It really is. As much as the points are all that matters, I would like to see what we all think should happen in terms of lineup with that attacking, what we saw at Palace. But I would like to see it work and not just win, but play well. Although the playing well is the less vital part. It'd be nice if we could get both, because we've been picking up. We've been watching poor performances and equal, not many points of late. But nice to get both. The most critical thing is the points at the end of the day. But I would like to see a Metcha Calvert-Lewin up top, that work, a couple of goals, a goal apiece, plenty of chances on the front foot where Farker looks at it and goes, actually, this is what we need again. This were working, in around City away, Chelsea at home a couple of months ago, and I veered away from it. What were I doing? This could have been a lot smoother, plain sailing. We could have been 5 or 6 points better off now if I'd have just continued with that. Wolves will beat us now. They are. Nah, Chris, I don't agree with that either. Wolves are playing well for Wolves, got naught to lose. But I think it's mad talk to say they'll beat us, mate. I really do. They're in better form than us. I get that. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna, say we're not gonna beat Brentford, if we say we're not gonna beat Wolves, then we're down, aren't we? We're down. So look, keep up the great work. At Darcy, we need more folks like you. Top bloke. Tim Darley shows YouTube have as much faith in you as we do, pal. Cheers, mate. Evening all. Brentford are no mugs, but if we want to stay up 3 points, that's where I am. No mugs, tough game. We have to go win. We have to go win it. I predict 2-1. Nice one, John. I like that, my mate. Yeah, we drew them away. I thought we were the better side as well. Mighty score predictions are legendary. I'm not too sure on that, mate. I'm usually way off. But yeah, 2-1. I can see it being a 1-1. I don't see us losing. This one. It's unthinkable losing this one, to be fair. Hi, Matty. There's goals in Nonto and James, but 10 minutes at the end of each match. No, it isn't enough, mate. And game state will sort of show us whether they're going to play or not. If we're winning or holding on to something, you'll find they don't come on those sort of plays. We saw it at Palace, people screaming for Dan James to come on. It ain't gonna do that if we're holding on to something. You're gonna find these plays that we all want to see more of will only come on when we're throwing the kitchen sink because we're chasing the game. How many times we've seen Nonto, James, Pirro then when we need a goal. Be nice to see them on the pitch to go get the goal before we need a goal, I don't like the fact that some of these players only get minutes when we're losing. I don't like that. Why can't they be part of a starting setup that shows a little bit more of attacking flair? He does. He's pocketed so many decent players this season, and we need him to do the same against Thiago. We have to. Feature video on YouTube, Mate, and I'm saying free. Feature video on YouTube. Sound. Love that. That's class, that, Tim. Thank you very much. And I'm saying 3-2 Leeds, 92nd minute. Oh, the roof will come off if that happens, mate. The roof will be off. I mean, I'd like it to be a lot more plain sailing than that, mate, but I ain't going to lie. If it's 3 points, I couldn't give a toss. Just give us 3 points. Just give us 3 points. Please smash a like on the video, guys. 130 people in the building, which is brilliant for a Thursday night. Please subscribe if you're new here. Thank you very much. If they're on it, we win 2-0. We won't lose. I don't think we'll lose. I think that's where I am. I think we can get a draw, worst case. But let's not lose, boys. Yeah, that's what I'm going for, Logan. Hi, Matty. There's goal. I've already had that one, haven't I? Only Blunderland match was a poor match. Man City was always going to be. Yeah, well, I think Man City were a bad result in the end, considering what we faced the Leeds game. But I actually thought it was a decent performance against City. I didn't mind it at all, considering look what Arsenal did. I know Arsenal are better than City this year, but there ain't much between it on the days, really. I do look at that City game and think we probably should have got a point, but certainly don't expect a point. Sunderland won the one we expected 3. So this is why I don't think we can drop points in this, because between Sunderland and Brentford, those 2 games, you're probably looking at them 2 thinking 3 is a minimum. 4 is doable. 6 is achievable too. But to get none or 1 out of them 2 is pretty bad. So to the great but violent. I am violent. Oh God, I'm a lover, not a fighter. It's funny. England squad tomorrow morning at 11. I don't think DCL gets in. I think he's dipped off at wrong time. But if he gets in the squad, Dave, it might spike something for Saturday. 100%. It might give him that confidence for his 8 o'clock kickoff against Brentford on Saturday night. But if I'm honest, DCL, as much as I want him to go to World Cup, and I don't want him to be in squad tomorrow. I actually don't want him to be in squad. We don't need the risk. We don't need the risk of injuries. Yeah, no, I agree. I think they complement each other really well. They really do. I think Metch is a better footballer. Genuinely, like ball to feet. I think he can do more. I think he's got more in his arsenal than DCL. But DCL is, a proven Premier League player who's scored goals. But I think if you look at the goals per minute, I think Metch has actually had a better season than DCL. DCL's got 10 goals, but he's played a lot more minutes than what Metch has. Maybe not double, but probably not far off double Metch's minutes, off the top of my head. And Metch is on 7. So I think Metch has probably been the better of the 2. At 1 p.m. Yeah, they're tough games. They are tough games. Yeah, I agree, Sloop. If you could put both into one play, it'd be an hell of a play, that. Yeah, I agree. Back in the day, it were big man, little man, but we had Beckford and Becchio were both quite physical players. No, Beckford wasn't a big guy as such. Becchio were that, but Beckford certainly wasn't a little man either. But good in the air, Becchio, pace, he can get him behind Beckford, but that were 2 physical players that got in the defenders' faces and stretched defence and made it tough. And I do think you something in that, mate. I hadn't even thought of that, but yeah, something in that. Mark, must be 3 points Saturday anyway, isn't it? Good. Yeah, of course it is, Mark. I didn't think they'd get through it. I just had a feeling they'd go out. Obviously, we 1-0 down in tie as well. But it's brilliant they've gone through. When Farke was managing Norwich, the owners asked him to play attacking football. He refused and they sacked him. I won't be surprised if Farke picks the same lineup as against Sunderland. I wouldn't be surprised, mate. I'll be pissed off, though, easy. Be pissed off because there's nothing about the side we played against Sunderland that warrants playing that again. There's nothing you can look at and go, yeah, I understand this. No. It'd have made more sense if he'd have lined up like that against Palace. It would have made more sense. It was away from home. It was the next game. Like there's no sense at all to go from what we saw against Sunderland, what bombed, to the lineup away at Palace, to drawing the game and actually playing a more attacking side and still getting a result and not conceding a goal with a man sent off, and then going back to what didn't work against Sunderland. There's no logic to that at all. Nigel Miller, it's going to be a draw, but that's not a bad thing, Leeds. It's not a bad thing, but it is a bad thing. I don't want to see it. And yeah, they did. They did. Atmosphere will be great Saturday night under the lights. Just need it to be for all of the match. Yeah, I think it will be. I think in terms of us playing at home and what we want the fans to sort of bring, 8 o'clock Saturday night is perfect. It's perfect. There isn't as much pressure as well because everyone else is playing after us, so we get to play first, and it's 8 o'clock kick-off. So I know we've had a couple of dodgy performances under the lights, so we've dropped points. I think it's a great time to play in this game, I really do. It wouldn't be the end of the world, John, but it's a long time to dwell on it, innit? A point against Brentford will be a poor result, has to be 3 points. I've been saying this, mate. It's not the end of the world, a point, it's not, but it's a long time to dwell on it. I think when you lose to Sunderland, you've got to beat Brentford. When you draw to Palace, you've got to beat Brentford. When you lose to, you can't keep drawing or losing your home games. We're told you can do that away from home. You're going to lose more than you draw and win away from home. If you can, pick up a point, great. But you've got to be winning your own games. Can't win them all, no. But you can't go, 3 in a row at home losing, 4 in a row at home losing. You can't. At some point, that's got to turn around. And if we had maybe Wolves game after, it won't feel as big. But the fact we've got scum at their shithole, so much riding on it. I think we do. I mean, if you look at them two, you can look at them 2 games and with respect go, tough. But if you look at those games and think we can't win them, we're not going to win them, then relegate us now. You can't, mate. Evening, Colin. I hope you're good, my mate. I'm same Tom Rogers. It's a must-win for me too. But if West Ham lose to Villa and Tottenham and Forest draw, then again another game week goes and we're still. But at some point we've got to just by scruff at neck grab our survival as self and just get it over the line. I certainly have it as a must-win. But like I say, Clive, if we draw every game, we stay up on 40 points. But we won't draw every game, will we? If we target drawing every game, top banana, we're gonna narrowly lose a couple of them too. Carl Waters, hi Matty, pal, come on Leeds, let's just go for it now. I'm glad we got a full squad. Yeah, I mean we're really fortunate, Carl. The fully fit squad's massive. There didn't many sides. I mean, you look at Spurs. If Spurs had a fully fit squad, they probably wouldn't be where they are in league. And we're really, really blessed to have got through the season pretty unscathed with our bigger players. Really clustered of games, haven't they? Stacks had a couple, Okafor's had a couple, but no one's been out for 5 months, 4 months. And no big hitters out, so it's been fairly good season on the injury front and decent again that's the case. I do think we'll be okay. Football evens itself out of the season. I feel we are due some luck. My dad says we're due 50 plus years. Be nice to get a couple of penalty shouts our way, wouldn't it? Some at VAR actually gives us for once. Perhaps we could be a team with the most draws ever recording. Yeah, well, it feels like we draw every game, doesn't it? Although I don't think we do, but it feels like it. 2-2 draw all the way. 40 points should be enough. I think 40 is enough. I wouldn't gamble on 38 though. Yeah, Tim Darley. That is true, mate. No, he is, Clive. He really values a point per game. And point per game, most years you'll stay up, but maybe this year it's not enough. Hey up, Angela. Hey up, Matty. Hope you're well. I'm happy to hear that Okafor's back. Hope lads come out all guns blazing Saturday night. They need to. I think the crowd will be up for it. I think there'll be a buzz around the stadium. The fans will be energised. That has to seep onto the pitch. And we have to see a reaction. We have to. Backs are against the walls now. No one's going to get us out of it. Certainly the sides in and around us aren't going to aid us, I don't think, to stay up if we don't do the business ourselves. We've seen that in the last few game weeks. So yeah, Okafor being good is a massive lift. It really is. Matt is a gentle giant, not a violent man at all. Bloody not, mate. I don't know where that come from. I'm a big man, but I'm not bloody violent. I mean, I won't fight in my life, and my brother chinned me, and he's 4 years younger than me. I think we win 3 games. I do. Which is crazy. We've only got 8 games left, but I genuinely do. I think we can win this game. I think we should be beating Wolves and Burnley, and then you've still got Spurs away and West Ham away, which are winnable, aren't they? They are winnable. I don't believe DCL is quite good enough for England. He's a lower tier. You know what it is, Tom? I think when he's in form, like that month or two where he was flying, scoring goals for Leeds United, there were no one better other than Harry Kane as an English striker. His numbers at 10 still look still has him in the conversation, and he's in the conversation whether he misses out or not. But I think when he's out of form, he looks nowhere near England level. That's what I'll say, Tom. In form, can cut it. Out of form, nowhere near. I mean, you look at Bamford, same again, prime example. Gets a cap when he was flying high. Get him when he isn't in form, when he isn't confident, and he's a totally different player. So, yeah, I think if DCL has scored that penalty, maybe on 12 or 13 goals, and his run hasn't stopped, I think he'd get in that side. He'd maybe go score a goal for England, in the next week or two. But I think right now, when he isn't on it, I'm not too sure. I think he's got to be in the conversation, Sloop, because of his numbers this season. But it were a couple of months, wasn't it, when it's all sort of coming. The start of the season were poor. I say poor, you know what I mean, and now it's feeling very much the same. But he had a really good spell in the middle where he done really well, and you can't fault him. And for a free transfer, if he ends on 10 goals, some of those goals will have been vital to us staying in league. Darlow, Bogle, Justin, Ronan, Biel, Strauk, Stack, Ampadu, Aronson. Same as mine, mate. Exactly the same as mine, buddy. Forest will win in Europe and go down. Yeah, imagine the Rambler Gambler. Imagine. I don't think it does, Sloop. I don't think it comes down to that last game, but a lot of people are nervous about that. We can lose every game and stay up if no one else gets enough points, but if we have to take matters into our own hands and win some games, yeah, of course. Obviously, if no one else wins, that can happen, but I fully believe we've got enough ourselves to get ourselves out of it. We can't be relying on everyone else because everyone else won't lose, will they? Look at West Ham. West Ham, banging form, playing really good stuff. Yeah, that's what I think, Steve, as well, mate. We're circling, but goal difference will save us from the job. Hopefully it doesn't. Signature. Sign of nature. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's points rather than goal difference. I don't want to be struggling to the point where our goal difference is even a thing. But yeah, it's nice to have a better one than others. Scored more goals, conceded less than some of those down there. But I do think there's enough points to go win. 8 points keeps us up. 8 points in 8 games. We've sort of gone on that trend all season, haven't we? Above a point per game ratio, teetered around that. There's enough points for us to go win with a fairly reasonable on paper list of fixtures. Let me just get rid of that. So obviously this week, look at Premier League fixtures. I don't see that because my screen's gone funny. Can you all see that? I don't know if you can see that because the screen's gone really funny. This is this weekend's fixtures. So obviously, the big ones for us, obviously us playing Brentford, Villa, West Ham, and Spurs at home to Forest. So it's a big game week. It's a huge game week. I actually feel like this could be a season-defining weekend in terms of the drop. I really do. Looking at those games, and we watch to come the international break, an FA Cup quarterfinal, then Scum. I really feel like this is a huge weekend, not just the Leeds Brentford game, but when you look at Villa, West Ham. If they can go to Villa, I know Villa are sort of out of form a little bit. Let me just check if comments coming in. Someone let me know if you can see that because my screen's gone a bit funny. It's gone like really small. But can you all see them fixtures all right, yeah? I think if West Ham go to Villa and win, I think that really is stamping their authority that we aren't going down. If West Ham beat Villa, I would say West Ham don't go down. And I actually think that already that they won't go down. You can see that sound Dave Chase Pal. It's all right, small for some reason. Never done that before. But yeah, West Ham. If West Ham beat Villa, I think that's West Ham not going down. Genuinely. And the Spurs Forest. You look at Spurs to draw against Liverpool, massive confidence boost of scoring late on. They then go beat Atletico Madrid, which Atletico Madrid were already through. Really, they put up a good fist of it. But again, another late winner. Late goal. Jamie Simmons there with a penalty makes it 3-2. So they've got to Anfield and they've played Atletico Madrid. And 1-1 and drawn 1. Obviously gone out of the Champions League, which will probably help them again in the Premier League. They'll focus just on survival now, which is probably bad news for us. But if they start getting some momentum, if they beat Forest, which they'll fancy now, Forest, being taken to penalties there, getting through, but being taken the distance. If Tottenham can beat Forest, maybe Tottenham are on the turn. I've always said Forest out of the lot will go down. I do think there's something in keeping Tottenham down there as long as we can. Because it's a toxic atmosphere. And I do think, it's not bad, the last couple of results for Spurs, to keep Igor Tudor in the job, because I don't think he's good for the place, if I'm honest. So hopefully those couple of performances and results mask what's really going on at Tottenham. But a draw would be ideal. But there's something in Forest beating Spurs away that makes me think that might be better, if I'm honest, than Spurs winning. Just because I think if you can sort of halt that momentum Spurs are sort of looking at now and really turn the screw, if you can see Tottenham drop into the bottom three, for me that could be them gone. It could be them gone. Let me get rid of that now. There we go. I also think that could be a season-defining weekend. Yeah, that's it, Sloop. That's what I think. Good. Leeds 40, West Ham 39, Forest 38, Spurs 37 are relegated, in my opinion. Wow. So, I mean, it's a big weekend, isn't it? Spurs have no wins in the Premier League, but they've just beaten Atletico Madrid. Just gone and beaten Atletico Madrid. Yes, a bit of, it's a two-legger where Atletico was still through, but already through, really. But look at the lineup they had. They had a great side, didn't they? They had a great side, did Atletico, and they beat them 3-2. So they're going to be confident. They're in the most confident sort of place right now, I Spurs, and they've been for a few months. When you think about it, back-to-back games not lost, But yeah, they finally won a game in 26 in the Champions League against a side that would probably be up there challenging for Premier League if they played in England. So there's something in it now that Spurs are maybe turning it around, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, no, they didn't. They saw a decent side out though, but yeah, they made a couple of changes because they knew they had one foot in the door already. But again, winning breeds confidence, and 100%, they're going to be more confident now than they were last week, So yeah, anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I've been waffling for an hour and a half, you know me. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone that's dropped a like and tuned in. 134 likes. Absolutely love to see it. Thank you so much. Make sure you're back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for Late Night Leeds. Me, AG, and Boss Nass will have a full team. Everyone's fit and healthy. Everyone will be on tomorrow, barring any last-minute mishaps, I don't know. But yeah, Boss Nass, AG will be back tomorrow night with me for Late Night Leeds. We'll have Priestley on for the quiz. Will it be Matt Eve's teeth? Or will it be Tony Dodigo's toes? We don't know. We'll have to see. But make sure you're back at 10 o'clock to find out. We'll touch on the Palace game. We'll obviously preview in a bit more detail. The Brentford game, get the guys' thoughts. There'll obviously be the quiz and a few bits of banter in there as well, as you know. Thanks, Matty. Thank you so much, Sloop. Great catching up with you, Matty. Thanks again to Darcy for the membership. Top guy, Darcy. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, toodle pip, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. As always, love you all to bits. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock for Late Night Leeds. See you soon. Bye-bye. Please like on your way out.